thanks for being here, everybody. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach Doege, and then we'll take questions.
Yeah, appreciate you guys being here. Obviously, just finished practice 13 through spring. I've been very, very pleased with our process, the maturity that this unit has grown in, and obviously acquiring some new players from the portal, some new high school guys graduating early. As many returning guys as we have, it does feel like a new group, and so getting that group on the same page, believing in the standard of how we do things, and creating a mentality amongst this unit has been fun. It hasn't always been pretty, but they've always responded. They're a resilient group. So, like I said, I'm really excited about the progress we've made through this spring, and hopefully we can finish that off these next two practices. But I do think we have a chance to be very explosive on offense with the wideouts that are returning and some of the guys that we've brought in. I do think we're at a healthy spot at O-line that we haven't had these last couple of years. I think our quarterback is playing at an elite level right now, taking care of the football at an elite level, and I've been really, really pleased with our young quarterbacks kind of growing up and being thrown to the fire and really producing through the spring and doing some really good things that I wasn't anticipating them being able to do. So I'm really excited about where we're at, and I look forward to the next two practices and then in our spring game to showcase that progression. So, questions?
All right, we'll start with Justin and Mike.
We've heard from some coaches that getting Tristan Bounds back, when the news hit, it was like a big sigh of relief. How important is it to get Tristan Bounds back, and what do you think is next for him as he goes into his senior year?
Absolutely. I look back through his journey when we first brought him here and how he really struggled in the first spring to a point where we didn't know if he was going to be capable of being our right tackle. Then we go into the season kind of, Rhino gets to, Rhino's healthy, so we're trying to create some competition there. And then the next thing you know, Tristan gets a lot of confidence in what we're trying to do, which is, again, a part of the process of, I think Oglesby is so good with his development piece. And, in the middle of the season, Tristan's playing in my opinion, at a Big 12 level. He belongs on that field. And so when we had an opportunity to get, what I thought is a Big 12 tackle back that's already knows the system, that knows, the way we ID things, the way we call things, the communication, all that stuff, and honestly, one of our vocal leaders on our unit, and holds the standard to a high standard as well. Getting him back was huge, and so that was obviously you're crossing your fingers because you don't know when it comes to like applying for waivers if it's going to get passed or not. But as soon as it got passed, we were ready. We had a package in place for him, and signed, sealed, delivered. I mean, he didn't want to go anywhere else. So he believes in Coach Oglesby. He believes in what we're trying to do. So having him back is going to be great, especially for his development too, because he's not done. I mean, he's still developing into the player that he truly wants to be. And I felt like as long as he stayed here and stayed with the same coach, the same training staff, the same system, that he was going to really develop into a really, really good player. So I'm excited to see his progress. He just, obviously he's coming off of an injury, but he's done a great job in the weight room. He's gotten really strong, which I thought was a big deal for him. So he's gotten really strong, and I'm excited to get him back in the fold for sure.
How do you assess the battle for QB2?
Well, again, process, and I don't want to look too much into the spring as like who's ahead of who. I wanted them to get acclimated to like what we're doing, and then figure out what they're good at. Go through the summer and fall camp and try to like really push the scheme toward their strengths and see how they elevate the unit. Right, I didn't want to like make a decision through the spring because, again, the spring is supposed to be hard. Danny is a really good defensive coordinator. He does some unique stuff. So there's times where we're not going to chase ghosts trying to block Danny because it's an adjustment that we'll never use again in the season. And so like putting a bunch of adjustments on those quarterbacks through the spring just didn't seem like a fair evaluation. I wanted to see them play very confidently and then make a decision when they actually know exactly what they're doing. But I thought, for both of them, to the two freshmen that are battling right now with Luke and Sawyer, like if I look back at my freshman year, there's no way I'm making some of the throws and some of the plays that I'm making right now. And, I had a decent, career in college football. And so I do think both of these guys are extremely talented. And we have thrown a lot at them because I'm not going to slow down for Noah. And so they're sitting in the same meetings as Noah Fafita is. And Noah's, obviously talking at communicating at a high level, and we're making adjustments, man zone adjustments. We're making protection adjustments. We're changing plays. We're canning plays. We're getting in a huddle now and calling these long play calls at times, and understanding the different looks to get us in and out. Like, there's a lot to what we're doing right now, and both of those young guys have really handled it well, which has been exciting for me. So I'm excited to kind of see their progress and who really separates themselves through the summer and fall camp.
Jason and then Juan.
What is your objective with the wide receiver room in the offseason, and how do you think the new guys have done so far?
Well, I think with the returning guys is continuing mastering the scheme, especially like I think about Spivey and his progress, because yes, this guy is an absolute freak when it comes to, 6'3", 220 pounds. He's very explosive. He's very violent with the ball in the air. He's hard to tackle. But why didn't we play him as much last year? Why didn't the ball always find him as much last year? Well, it was just there was too many inconsistencies. Lining up, running the right route at the right depth, on the right time, the right split. Like, everything matters, especially in Big 12 play. And so it's been fun to watch a guy like Spivey truly master that. And he's gotten to a point where he's consistently lining up correctly. He's consistently getting to his depth. He's consistently winning on routes. He's consistently going up and attacking the football. And because of that, he's had, in my opinion, maybe the one more explosive camps out of anybody. And I'm really excited about him. Same thing with Gio. He's kind of mastered what we're trying to do with that slot position. And so because of that, we can do a lot of different stuff with that slot, whether it comes to option routes, choice routes, different concepts where he's kind of have to, has a man zone concept where he's doing something versus zone, a different thing versus man, and you're not having to tell him exactly what to do. He can make that decision on the fly, and that's been huge for us. And so those guys, the returning guys, is just obviously is mastering that and allowing us to get really creative in the pass game. The new guys, it's just, you have this beginner mindset with them of just want to line up fast and execute the play until they get to a point where we can do some of the stuff with those new guys as we're doing with the veterans.
Juan and then Justin.
How would you assess the tight end room's development during the spring?
I do think that that room is extremely talented. I do think they're young, though, right? I think Cole obviously has played some big-time football at times. And you can see that show up in practice because, his maturity is a little bit ahead of the others. But then you do look at, Shug, who's Shane, we call him Shug, Shug and Henry, and they do their route running, how explosive they are when they really do run away from a man coverage player, doing some really cool things with those guys, and their ability to separate has been fun to watch. Now the biggest thing is what we've really done a great job, or Coach Miller's done a great job, is those guys have been on 9-on, 7, our team run period. They go to that drill every single day. They don't come do one-on-ones. They don't work on their routes. He's doing that kind of pre-practice or during his indie. But they've gotten to a point where I feel like they're getting confident in some of the fundamentals that we're asking them to use in the run game, because that's what, to me, is going to separate that unit is how well can we block in the run game, because they've done like I said, they're extremely athletic, so they're going to be a problem when you split them out, but they're only a problem if we can truly run the football, and that's going to take some process. It was the same thing with Cam Barmore last year. It was a process of getting him to truly buy in and create some confidence in the fundamentals that we're teaching them, so they can go execute the run schemes that we're trying to implement.
Justin and then Damian.
In your opinion, who has been the most improved offensive player this spring?
That's a good question. Yeah, Louis Akpa. Going into, obviously, this spring, knowing that you didn't have Tristan, we were going to kind of create a competition between ACPA and Nate Hill. And that competition is still going, and we'll see, how that unfolds. But, at the end of last year, he was so light that he would just get bull rushed back into the quarterback's, spot at a high percentage. Okay, and so it was really hard for him to truly protect. Now, there was times where he looked really good because he is so athletic and so explosive. But then you go through the winter off season. He's now at 300 pounds, but he's still lacking a little bit of strength, in my opinion. Now he's gotten stronger, but he's got to get stronger to truly play at this level and consistently do what we're asking him to do. So going into the spring, I wasn't, obviously I had some high expectations for him, just because anytime we get out there, I have a high standard of play. But he's really surpassed what I thought he was going to do this spring. And he's made some really good calls in the run game as well as the pass game where, he's really throwing people across his face and doing it at a violent rate. And really looks like he belongs out there. He's playing with a lot of confidence, and he's playing a lot stronger than he is. So, the more confidence that he can get, the stronger that he can get. He has a chance to really help us this fall.
Damien and then Michael.
So back to Tristan, what to you has stood out about how Tristan himself personally has handled the comeback and return?
To me, he's handled like a pro, because he's such a mature dude that, he's always going to be on time for treatment. He's going to attack the treatment. He's going to attack the weight room. So everything that he does is almost like you didn't even have to worry about it. You knew it was going to come back probably better, because you knew he was going to be in the winter conditioning deal. He wasn't really running the conditioning all that much, which actually might have been a blessing in disguise, because now he can put on a little bit of weight that we was probably lacking, some strength that he was lacking. But he's such a veteran presence for our unit that it's almost like just because he wasn't truly 100% in every activity that we were doing, he was always there. You could always hear him. He was always encouraging. And like I said, I thought he attacked the rehab the right way, which allowed him to progress to where he is right now. So I'm excited. I'm excited where he's at. I'm excited that the strength and the weight he's put on. And I'm really looking forward to really having him back in this summer and fall camp and see what he's capable of doing now with all that with that new type of strength.
Michael and then Juan.
You talked about Spivey really honing in on the details of the job this spring. Is that something that he undertook on his own, or was that prompted by yourself and fellow coaches, like, hey, you better figure this stuff out or you're not going to reach your potential?
Yeah, I mean, it's constant communication. Obviously he knows he's not. I think all these kids, they're not naive. They know, they understand, what they need to get better at. But there was a communication to him of like, man, you can really, really help us if your game can become more consistent. And so that's what we were looking for, is a more consistent play. And the greatest thing about Spivey is Spivey will look you in the eyes and say, yes, sir, and go try to attack it. He'll respond the right way. I've never seen him really pout when you coach him hard or you demand something from him, which, obviously I think that could diminish your growth at times, because I do think Bobby Wade does a great job of creating trust and developing some love in that room and true relationships to where we can demand a standard from these receivers, and they understand that place, it's come from a place of love and that we want them to be their very best. And so, Spivey does a great job of understanding that, and he goes and attacks it. Doesn't mean he's always right. We're not always, I'm not always right. Noah's not always right. We're going to make mistakes. That's part of playing football. It's an imperfect game played by imperfect individuals. And so we're going to make mistakes. But the greatest thing that I've seen about Spivey is, like, even today, he made a mistake on a route. We threw a pick. It wasn't the quarterback's fault. It was Spivey's fault. And yes, I was, at the time, was very frustrated with that outcome. But the thing that really I got excited about was how he attacked the next play, because he ran the next route with really violent intentions, caught the ball, got upfield, and I don't know if it was tackle. I don't know if he gets tackled. And it might have been a huge explosive play after a detrimental play of what he caused. And so that's the type of response I'm looking from him, because I do know just the game of football, we're going to make mistakes. He's going to make a mistake. Now I just want to see him respond through that, and he did a good job today.
Juan and then Justin.
Last night, Noah won the Sapphire Award at the CATSEs. Does that surprise you, and what makes him stand out to earn those type of individual awards?
doesn't surprise me at all. He's one of the greatest humans I've ever been around. He treats people the right way. He does things the right way. You know, Coach Tommy Lloyd actually talked to our team, and the message that he sent to our guys was he wanted, you know, obviously he wanted the best teams are the most connected teams, hanging out with each other, get to know each other, which I think Noah does a great job of connecting with our team and connecting with our community and connecting with different sports, different athletes of different sports around campus. He does a great job connecting with coaches, does a great job connecting with Desiree. Like he does a great job just connecting with Arizona athletics. And so I'm not surprised about that award. But also Coach Lloyd also said this, and it made me think of Noah, is he wanted us to start with a beginner's mindset reset. And so I started thinking about Noah on that. What makes Noah good and what makes Noah different than everybody else is he's always has this beginner mindset. If I install a simple concept, a day one concept, it's probably as simple as it gets that we might call 4 times a year. He takes notes on it as if he's never heard it before. If he goes and reps it, he's repping it as if he's never repped it before. If we do a drill in practice, that's a, you know, mundane, like everyday type of drill, the details to that drill is almost like as if he's never gotten that rep before. And so he starts with the beginner's mindset, treats people the right way. He's very humble, and so I'm not surprised at any award he ever gets.
I'll ask Toby, Justin, and Jason.
So, have you ever met John Gruden, and what do you think about his quarterback breakdowns and just kind of how he views the clap cadence?
I've never, actually, I've met him. I think I've shook his hand once, like in passing. And I haven't gotten a chance to really watch all those breakdowns. But, obviously I've seen just on Twitter, on the feed of him always making fun of a clap cadence. But of course, like I wish he'd come like look at our clap cadences because we have a multiple of different cadence variations with the clap. And then when we do go under center, we actually do have a verbal cadence. So we have both. And so I'd be interested to hear his thoughts on that. Now, it's not going to change my view. I'm going to do what I believe in. And part of that is part of the clap is with tempo teams trying to play a little bit faster. It's a little bit faster of a cadence to get guys to truly snap the ball a little bit quicker. But I hear it, and I think I saw something because Sari Robertson, obviously he's from Lubbock, so he pops up on my feed, and I saw him giving him a hard time about his clap cadence. But like I said, I think we're a little bit different. A lot of people I've talked to don't have variations with their claps. We do. We have quite a few, and it takes a lot of detail and intention to get good at it. But I do think it helps us. And then, like I said, we do go under center a little bit now, and we have a verbal cadence as well. So, which puts a lot on the quarterback, and we got to be really intentional and disciplined to do that. But I do think it gives them tools to have some success.
With the NFL draft coming up this week, what do you remember about the 2013 summer when you were with the Falcons and you were learning from guys like Matt Ryan and Tony Gonzalez?
Yeah, actually, my draft story is I knew very well that if I was going to get drafted, it was going to be late round, but most likely I was going to be a undrafted free agent. And so what I did is I did a study on every single team and what their backup or third string quarterback situation looked like. And one of those teams, actually the top team on my list was the Atlanta Falcons. And so when they called, there was a few teams that called, but that was the top list. It didn't matter the money. It was actually the less of the money. But I took that opportunity knowing like that was the best opportunity for me to make a roster. And so, through all different circumstances, making that roster was big for me. Obviously, I got to live out a dream that most guys like truly like they play the position because they want to play in the NFL. Now, did I get to play in the NFL? No, I got to practice. And but it was a great experience for me. Matt Ryan treated me like, he treated me just as well as anybody. And he didn't have to do that, but he was like the ultimate pro. He treated his teammates. He's a lot like Noah. He treats his teammates very well, regardless if you're, the practice squad quarterback or you're Julio Jones. He's going to treat you with respect and treat you right and include you in the meetings, include you in the gatherings, include you on the private receiver quarterback meetings. Like I got to learn a lot from him, and the biggest thing I learned from him, obviously there was like some scheme and the way he throws it and the way he processes different types of looks. The one thing that I took away from Matt Ryan was how great of a teammate he was, and how like what a pro actually meant, and he embodied that, and that was a big time experience for me.
We'll finish up with Jason.
Obviously Noah is a really good quarterback, but is there something specific you want to see him kind of take the next step or improve at?
It's funny. I was thinking about that last night, just because we're gonna, you have these exit interviews coming up, and the one, like he's playing, I mean, he's made some elite throws and some elite checks where you're like, as a coordinator, it's like, man, if he does that at a consistent level, we're gonna be really hard to stop, because he's seeing it and he understands it. Just obviously being year 2 of a scheme, and truly starting to believe in it and understand how it all works together, has been awesome to watch. And he's done a great job of taking care of the football throughout the spring. Now he's thrown some picks, but some of those weren't necessarily on him. And so I thought he's done a good job of protecting the football. The one thing that me and him have talked about, and he's actually mentioned it to me before I talked about it to him, was in this scheme, because of our chemistry and because of our communication, being able to trust that completely. Meaning, like he made this comment to me the other day of like, well, when I was a freshman, sometimes things went, I thought I was going to get something pre-snap, I got tricked. Next thing you know, I'm just like trying to find Jacob Cowan, and I'm just throwing it deep. Or I'm trying to throw T-Mac deep, just finding it deep, like just trying to find those guys and making a play. Versus now he understands, if I just fall back to my training and get through my progression, or get to my man answer, or get to my zone answer, and I can do it fast, it's there. And I think that's a little bit of like a true trust, like truly trusting the scheme and trusting your training, which I felt like last year when he did get in trouble at times was when he fell back to that, okay, I just got to make something happen, versus, hey man, me and you have gone through this over and over and over to a point where you can always fall back to your training. And there'll be times, there'll be a time or two where, yeah, they'll cover it. But for the majority of the time, your percentages of getting back through your progression or getting to that answer that we've discussed, it's going to be there for you. And so that's probably the biggest thing is continue to trust the scheme and trust, his job and what he's in his progression and his, what he's going to, I give him so much. I've got like basically a tool belt of different stuff he can do now. And as long as he trusts his eyes and trusts his mechanics and trusts the progression and trusts, like, again, like what's the man answer, what's the zone answer, he'll have the answers to the test as long as he trusts it. And that's where I think he can continue to build on.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
and then Michael.
Tristan, good to see you. We've heard from Oglesby and some of the others when news got out that you were coming back for another year. It was like a big sigh of relief in the facility. Take us through the process of just kind of waiting things out, and what does it mean to you to finally have another year and come back to Arizona?
Yeah, obviously super excited to be able to be back with this team. Kind of for a while, it was just waiting to see like what was going to happen. And then obviously once I got that, I was actually on the plane and got a text from Coach O, like all fired up, and I had no idea what he was talking about because I couldn't get my email. But once he told me, super excited, and then just been rolling from there.
And last year, you became a starter, became really productive. How do you think last year can set you up for this year? What lessons did you learn?
Yeah, I think just got a lot of experience. That was my first real significant playing time. And so just learning a lot through playing. But I think really just being in year 2 of the same offense, playing around the same guys, being comfortable with those guys, and then just building from there from a culture standpoint is going to be the biggest thing for us.
Michael and then Jason.
Noah, it seems like Trey Spivey's making a lot of plays out there this spring. Where have you seen his game grow the most?
Yeah, I think Trey's such a special player. I will go as far to say he's a generational talent. Like, I mean, his dad's an MLB star, so Trey's just he's shown glimpses. He's shown what he's capable of. I mean, seven touchdowns on 12 touches is special, but now you have him playing in the scheme. Now he's confident in what he's doing. And he knows the scheme. He knows the playbook, so he's lining up faster. He's gonna win every one-on-one you match him up with, and then. Obviously, we've seen how lethal he is with the ball in his hands. So as he continues to get more comfortable, I think I said this last year, as he continues to get more comfortable, he's going to get more dangerous. And we look forward to leaning on Spive to continue to be explosive for us.
Jason and then Juan.
For Noah, Seth just said that, as well as you've played, one thing that you guys have discussed improving on is trusting the scheme at times. What do those conversations look like, and what does trusting the scheme look like for you?
Yeah, that's something I put in my notes a lot. I think Coach Doege's offense is so special. I've said that many times. I think the scheme is one of a kind. But I think what makes Coach Doege special is I've talked about his mentality, but I think his coaching points are legit as well. He's played the position at a high level, so he knows drop mechanics. He knows eye progressions. He knows how to keep me on time. So for me, I have proof from last season, but I also have proof from this spring that if I play in the system, if I play and I trust not just the scheme, but I trust his coaching points, there's going to be answers everywhere. So I think we've gotten better at that, and we got a couple more practices to continue to master it.
Juan and then Damian.
Noah, last night you beat out guys like Jaden Bradley and Jay Friend, other great male student athletes to win the Sapphire Award. What did that mean to you, and were you surprised to win that award?
Yeah, I was surprised. It's an honor for sure. I'm extremely grateful to everybody that made that possible in terms of the voting process. Dr. Desiree and like you said, those are some great names. Jay's awesome, and then obviously we know what JB is. So it is a prestigious award that I'm really grateful for. But at the end of the day, football is the greatest team sport, and any individual accolade that comes with football, especially a quarterback, it's not possible without your team. So I'm just grateful that I'm a part of this team, and I look forward to making a lot of team memories this year and winning some championships.
Damian and then Justin.
Tristan, between the injury and just sitting here today, what was the toughest moment or toughest part of the process of just getting back?
I think really the biggest thing is, for me, that was my first time ever being seriously injured and having a long rehab process. So I think just trusting the process and going day by day is the hardest part. It's really easy to want to look ahead to the next milestone or what's coming. But just being where my feet are was the hardest thing. But it makes it a lot easier, when you have great teammates, you can lean on them. And those guys were always with me, always supporting me throughout this whole process. So that made it a lot better.
Speaking of that, I know we talk about it and you got this big smile on you and you're nodding along. How much does it mean to have this guy back?
I was probably the happiest when I got to hear that he got another year. I know we talked about it, and he was telling me that there was a possibility, so definitely praying about it and hoping for it. So when I got the news, I was super excited as well. But you talk about a professional, and he's been that way since he came in. He has a contagious personality. Everybody that's around him loves being around him. And then you talk about the professional he is on the field. He's been so dominant, been so successful, so I'm excited to get him back, not just for the year. And then you talk about the toughness part, and Coach Doege's told this story to us a lot, but if you go back to that Cincinnati game, that was one of the bigger drives. I believe that was a touchdown drive. But we have a second down, and I couldn't remember exactly what we ran on second down. I'm sure it was a run play, but that's the play that he got hurt. Then you get to a 3rd and 4, and me personally, we called it gas. So we went on the ball, 3rd down, and it was one of our game plan plays where we hit an out route to Cam Barmore versus cover 0. So for me, it's just I saw cover 0. I knew I had a one-on-one matchup, so we made it happen. I look back and I see TB on the ground. So obviously there's concern and there's scare there, but I didn't really understand what the backstory was. So Coach Doege's the one that broke it down the next day. But TB got hurt on the second down, and he knew that we were going gas tempo, and he knew that if he stayed down, Cincinnati would have a chance to sub. So with the broken ankle, he got up, he lined up, and in a cover 0 pressure, he hopped back. He kick-stepped with one leg, pushed the DN enough to allow me to step up and allow me to make a 3rd down conversion, which ended up being the game-winning touchdown. So
Great
you
throw.
talk about toughness. That's the motto of toughness for sure.
What do you remember about that?
I mean, I definitely knew that I broke my ankle. But like Noah said, it was gas tempo, and it was a critical point in the game. I knew that drive was, we kind of sputtered out a few times before that. I knew that drive was super important for us. And in that position, only thing on my mind is we got to win this game. And that's kind of really the way that I try to approach every game, every snap, what I'm doing, just focusing on our team and putting ourselves in the best position. Yeah.
God damn, that's crazy. But Noah, we've seen clips this year of Sawyer Robertson from Baylor. He's getting ready for the NFL. Last year, Jackson Dart. He's talking to John Gruden, and they're going over the cadences. And Gruden's very critical of the clap. Have you seen that? And what do you think about that?
Yeah, I have seen those videos, and we've talked about it too because Coach Doege has a clap cadence, and we have an indicator. We have an indicator word. So we say set before our clap, but I know at Ole Miss, when Jackson Dart was on the Gruden podcast, there was no indicator. He literally just clapped. So I would say we're a clap procedure, but I think we have a lot more layers to it. We have a lot of different mechanics. We have a lot of different cadences that allow us to keep our guys off, keep the defense off guard, and allows us to see different pictures. So I don't think we're as basic. Maybe if Gruden heard ours, he wouldn't be so against claps.
And then, we've heard about the tight end group and how they're settling in. What has it been like for those guys to get implemented?
Yeah, first and foremost, that their leader and Josh Miller is probably he's outside of Coach Doege, his mentality is probably one of the greatest I've seen as well. So I got so much respect for him. You always know that his recruitment and his process to get his guys, they're always going to be right on mentality wise and scheme wise. But I think we have a great group. It's led by Cole Rusk and Tyler Powell, and it's been great to see TP getting back, but also Cole just stepping into that role. He has so much experience under his belt, and I think he's one of the more athletic guys you've seen at that position. Then Shane King and Arthur Band, who came in, both specimens in terms of their measurements, in terms of what they can do. So it's been great to see them as well. We've got a great relationship with those guys, as well as the Young Bucks. Henry coming in, and then obviously we have Tyler Mustaine as well. So I'm super excited about that room. I think they're going to help us a lot, both in the run and pass game, and allow us to be explosive in 12 personnel, but also allow us to run the ball in 11.
Finish up with Michael and then Justin.
One question for each. For Tristan, what does your timeline look like? Do you have certain milestones or goals in mind, or dates that you kind of plan to?
Yeah, not really dates. I would say that I'm pretty close to healthy right now. Just kind of more so being safe and smart, understanding what the end goal is, and trying to make sure that I'm 100% healthy. But I feel very close to that, and the training staff and the strength staff have done an excellent job taking care of me in that regard, and making sure that as I approached those milestones in the past, everything was set and my body was taken care of to be ready for that.
And for Noah, when I watch your brother out there, it really reminds me a lot of Jacob Manu when he was here, your former teammate. How do you, what's the scouting report on your brother's football ability?
Yeah, I don't get to watch him too much on the field. I do know when we go and watch back on film, I'll go watch him and kind of enjoy that as a brother. But it's been great to see him. It's been great to hang out with him. But seeing his process, I never played with him before, so I've seen it all from the sideline. But being able to see him on the field, I mean, we all know that he's fast, he's extremely explosive, and the kid's smart. So he has great instincts, and I think that's what allows him to play at this level and allows him to be successful. So there's a lot of run-throughs, but I don't think they're just luck. I think he's extremely smart, makes some calculated risks, takes some calculated risks, but he's a special player, and it's been awesome to play with him.
Finish up with Justin.
No, we've heard from Coach Doege about going under center multiple times this spring. How do you think that's going to help the offense, just adding that little wrinkle?
I think it gives us a kind of a new angle of attack. I believe running the ball will be a little better under center. You get some better angles, and then some better tracks. But I think it allows you to be more dangerous in terms of play action pass and naked boots. So I mean, you take the best scheme in the world and you add that wrinkle to it. I think we could be extremely dangerous with the personnel that we have.
And then Tristan, I asked Coach Doege about the most improved player this spring, and he said Louis Aqua. What has it been like for you to see him go through this process over the last few months and also the last year?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, Louis came in a little bit light and worked really hard during the season in the winter to put that weight on. And with that has found, I think, some comfort on the field, being a little bit heavier, but also his confidence. He's playing extremely confident right now and playing really well, and super happy for him. It's great to get to watch him do that. And then the best thing about Louis is how excited he is on the field. Like, that guy just loves to play football. And those are guys that you want in your room, on your team, in your building. So super proud of Louis and all the progress he's making. He's playing really well.
Thank you, everybody.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.